Many years ago, I enjoyed learning tongue twisters. Betty bought some butter, and she put it in her batter, and it made her batter bitter. So she bought some better butter, and it made her bitter batter better. But I also learned that there's a certain phrase in the English language that is unpronounceable at high speed. And that's the phrase toy boat. So you can try toy boat, toy boat, toy boat, and the faster you go, the less you communicate. It seems to me that human communication is complicated, not because we don't know what to do, but simply because it's hard work. I know how to dig a ditch. I don't need a manual. But it's hard work. And so it is with human communication. The average person speaks about 30 conversations a day, enough to fill 50 pages of a book every day. That would bring a full library of what we've said. Everything from good morning to why do you always leave the towel on the floor? Or you really make me angry. Or you know what, I'm really upset. We have a wide range. And James 3 says, we all stumble. We all stumble in what we say. Proverbs 18 verse 7 says, our mouths are our ruin. They're snares for our soul. I don't need to explain that. Every one of us has tasted that pain. I often wish that we could develop a machine that would be placed in front of us. So before we speak, it would connect and print out what we're going to say. Don't you wish we had that? And then you could push a morality check, or I don't want to say that check, or boy, why don't I wait till later to say that? You and I know that a word once spoken is forever history. The painful reality of the things that we've said when we wish we could take those words back. Even in Matthew chapter 12, Jesus said we're going to be held accountable for every careless word. Not just the intentional words, but the ones that slipped out and we wish we could eat back. This tongue, this 2-ounce slab of mucous membrane hidden behind rows of ivory teeth, can destroy a nation, assassinate a character, but it can also build up a person and encourage a heart. That's why Solomon said in Proverbs 18, verse 1, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Death and life. Isaiah 6, remember, he sees the Lord high and lifted up, and he says, Kadosh, 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 holy, holy, holy. Then he says, Oy vey in Hebrew. Woe is me, I am ruined. I'm a man of unclean lips, and oh, by the way, I live among a whole bunch of people of unclean lips. We know this. This is a common human frailty. And the prophets wrote about it, and Solomon wrote about it in the wisdom literature, and we get to the Gospels, they write about it, and the Apostle Paul was replete with references. And one of my favorites is in Colossians chapter 4, verse 6. Now in chapter 3 and 4, Paul is talking about putting Christ first in everything. In our homes, our jobs, our lives, but also in our tongues. And he talks about our tongues, our speech being sweetened with grace and seasoned with salt. That's quite a concept. Salt that preserves, grace that sweetens. Because God's word is sweet to us. Our words can be sweet to others. God's word is salt to us, and our words can be salty to others as well. So it behooves us, I think, to understand what this recipe for godly speech that he's talking about here. And as we take the book of Proverbs especially, and then we bring it into what Paul said in Colossians chapter 4, I think we have a greater understanding of why it's so important that we control this tongue and use it for God's glory. James said that with it we bless, and also with it we curse. I'd rather our tongues be used as a tool for blessing.